go. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 5th, 2012. I'm going to go over the trades we took today, all the trades we took, the trades we missed, all that sort of stuff. Let's start right out with the results, okay? On the NQ, I am now plus 12 ticks. On the ES, I am plus 12 ticks. And on the YM, I am plus 28 ticks. All right, now I'll go over how I came to those results. Before we go any further, let me recommend anyone who has not taken the free trial with us, go to www.cfrn.net/apply and sign up for the free trial. There's no credit card required. All we need is your name and your email address, and we will send you the links you need to get everything you see here. All the indicators, all the charts, everything you see here. With the free trial, you not only get the indicators and the charts, but you get to sit in our live trading room for 5 business days for 2 hours a day. That's 10 hours of training in a live trading environment, where you get to see the stuff actually work right in front of you. And that is our free trial. All right. For anybody that is on the free trial, if your free trial is about to end, or if you just came onto the free trial yesterday, I think, or over the weekend, maybe Friday, you should have an offer in your email from me. If you do not have the offer, email me at support@cfrn.net, support@cfrn.net, and I will let you know what it takes to become a partner. Okay? Now, without further ado, let's do the NQ first. Okay. Let me snap that down a little bit. Here we go. These were the trade setups on the NQ this morning. All right, here was the open. We had bullish divergence. When I say divergence, what I'm talking about is this green line going in the opposite direction of the cycle portion of the slingshot. All right. This is the whole trade setup right here, guys. You look for the MA1 to cross above the BBC. The BBC is this green line. The MA1 is the red and blue line. You look for that to cross up above. Once it's crossed up above, price is pulled away from the BBC, then that tells you look for long trades. Now, the thing that you're looking for to tell you that it's a good time to enter on the long side is for divergence down here. Now, what divergence is telling you is that there's a little bit of a pullback in the market. The market's pulling away from its current momentum, its current trend, just a little bit. And the BBC right here, in this particular case, when you're going long, the BBC is an area of support. It's likely to come down and test that area of support. When it tests that area of support, and it closes back in the direction of the original momentum, that's when you want to get into the trade. All right. So this right here was a very nice looking trade. The spot you would have entered would have been right here at 24.71 3/4, 24.70, 24.72, right here in this area right here. Okay, 1 or 2 ticks right there. You would have entered there, and on the NQ, I use an 8-tick stop, and I don't have a target because of runs like this. In a couple of, what was it? About a minute. It ran from right here. We'll say 24.72. We'll just round it to 24.72. In a minute, it went up to 24.78 for 6 points or 24 ticks. If I had 4 contracts on, which I was trading with the NQ this morning, that would have been 96 ticks in about a minute. That's, what is that, 96 ticks? That's $480, I believe, in about a minute. And that would have been by 9:35. So that's a day's work right there. All right. Now that's the setup. That is the setup. On anything that's a 4-tick range, any one of these fast charts that's on a range chart, that is the setup. Okay. Not only NQ, but the YM, same thing. All right. So as we move over here, you see we had the same thing over here. We had the bullish divergence right here. Bullish divergence. BBC was below the MA1. Price pulled away. It came back down, tested it, and closed up right here. All right. It moved up again. Now in here, there were some other spots in here. This one right here looks like it would have stopped out. If you'd entered that, 8 ticks risk would have stopped you out right about here before it moved down. I was not looking at the trade at that time, but Right in there is where you would have been looking to get short. You had the bearish divergence. That would have stopped you out for 8 ticks. Now over here, mind you, you would have made about 24. Over here, another 24. Over here, -8. Over here, another whatever, 24 or whatever. Whatever. You might have made 8 ticks. But the same thing happened again. Right there. Now let me get on to the trades that I actually did take. I mean, you can see these conditions happening over and over and over again, right? Can't you? Let me know if you can't see this. If this doesn't make any sense to you, and if these things are confusing to you. Right here we had a bearish cross, price pulled up. The ones that I actually took have the yellow arrows on them. All right, price pulled up, tested the BBC. We got a down close right there. I shorted right there. You see we had the bearish divergence down here, and I shorted there. Price went in favor a bit, and when it got down below the MA1, when price closed below the MA1, I moved my stop right above the MA1. It came back up and stopped me out, so I got a little bit of profit there. On this one, I did the same thing, but when it was not closing below the MA1, when this bar closed above, that's when I moved my stop up to plus a tick, and it stopped me out at plus a tick on that one as well. This one right here just stopped me out. By the time I filled on this trade, it was the close of this bar. We had blue on the cycle, and the cycle was headed up. That's not the best trade, but it was still a pretty good trade. It stopped me out by, I think it got me by 1 tick, and then you can see the big drop that it had. So the direction was right. It just stopped me out by a tick. That was the last trade that I took in the morning session on the NQ, I believe. Just looking around, yeah, we didn't have anything that actually came and tested the BBC with the divergence. Okay. Right here, right at the end of the morning session, I took this short right here. We had divergence down here, bearish divergence right there. All right, and we're coming off of this big bearish divergence right there. I was getting ready to short it right here when it pulled all the way through, and then it dropped down here, and it put in this lower swing right here, lower than that one. Pulled back up and tested it, and we had just a little bit of bearish divergence. I shorted it right there, and I think I took 9 ticks out of that, 9 or 10 ticks, something like that. It looks like more than that right here, but it was really only about 9 ticks, I think, that I took. It went way down after that, but I was trailing my stop behind the MA1. All right, and let's see. Currently, there was a long trade right here, a short opportunity right in there, and this one right here, we would be looking for it to pull back up and test the BBC at this point. Okay, this right there was the short opportunity, and right in there was the long opportunity. All right, when you look at that, you look for the divergences. This one had bearish divergence right there, and this one had bullish divergence right there. Okay, right here you see the divergence is setting up. This is what it looks like when it's actually setting up in a live environment. It's diverging right here. These two lines are moving away from each other, the green line and the red line, moving away from each other. So you would be looking for it to get up here and test the BBC and then give you a down close. That's what you're looking for. All right. Now I'll put I'll put one of these. I'll put a square on it like that. We'll come back to that in a minute and see how it did. All right, now to the YM. The YM's doing the same thing right now. This is the divergence right here. The red's moving away from the green. It's tested the BBC, so now you would just look for a down close right here. A down close. All right. The YM trades pretty much happened near the same time as all the NQ trades. I got long over here. When I got long this YM trade, that was when the NQ trade happened, so I missed that NQ trade, but I did get the YM trade. This was my first trade of the morning. We had the bullish divergence. The MA1 moved above the BBC. Price came down, tested it, and moved up. I took profit on that one. I did not get any of these trades right in here. You see there was bearish divergence down here, and they tested the BBC with a down close. I did not get any long trades in here. I didn't get any of this stuff. I think I was trading the ES at the time. I was focused on the ES. But you see all these divergences right here. Those are short pullbacks. All right, that say the market is likely to bounce off of the BBC here. Okay, it's likely to bounce off the BBC whenever that happens. I shorted over here and I got stopped out for 7 ticks. All right, I went long over here, Now where I shorted was right here. That was not the best trade because the cycle was moving up on me. The MA1 was also moving up, especially right after the trade. The second bar I was into that trade, the cycle moved up against me. In this particular trade over here where I got long, it was just about a perfect trade because the cycle was blue, headed up. We had bullish divergence, it tested the BBC. We had our up close, and at the time of the up close, everything was still blue. That's where I got long. I took some profit in there. Okay. There were more divergences in here. These arrows were all going the wrong way. When you resize charts, the arrows get all mixed up and they spread around. There are a bunch of divergences in here. You can see them all in here. All right, that one right there with a pullback up here. Okay, over here. Over here. All these places where we had divergence that you could have entered into these trades and taken some profit. All right, over here. Now in here, there was, let me just highlight right there as well. There was divergence there. Okay, the cycle's starting to move down at this point. Now you don't want to go against the cycle if it's going against you. You usually want to just avoid the trade or look for a better entry than just the down close. Look for it to pull back some more or something like that. Typically I'll just avoid the entry, but there's enough opportunities. Like this one right here, you see the cycle was going up against it, so it pulled all the way back up to here. I usually, on the YM, I usually have 7 ticks risk. This probably would have stopped me out with 7 ticks risk, unless I entered up here. Okay. Let's see. This over here was the one at the start. At the start of my explanation, I said we would look for a down close. The down close was right there, and that dropped from 12.078 down to 12.071. Granted, it's just 7 ticks, but you could have moved your stop to plus 1 or 2 ticks in that point and been risk-free in the trade. You see it's pulled back through it right now, and I imagine the NQ has probably done something similar. Let's go back to that NQ spot. Here was the NQ. I had drawn this square on here at the, as it was approaching the BBC. So what you would have been looking for was a test of the BBC with a down close. Here was the down close, 24.71. You see it popped up to 24.71 and a quarter. So if you entered at 24.71 right there, it dropped down to 24.68 and a quarter, which is 2 3/4 points on the NQ. All right. Now at this point, you could have locked in some profit, easily locked in some profit on that trade, and I'm sure I would have. 2 3/4 points. That's however many ticks that is. 8. That's 11 ticks profit. I'm sure I would have locked in probably 5 ticks profit on that. So that one worked out as well. All right. Now let me get over here to the ES. Okay. On the ES this morning, this was the first trade that we took. The ES 10,000 contract, we trade this one just a little bit differently. Okay. We enter at the BBC. Instead of waiting for the up close or the down close, we enter at the BBC. All right. So in this case, we look for the bullish cross and for price to pull back down to the BBC. Now what I do here is the BBC's, like right here, it's trading at 1275.90. You can't actually put an entry at 1275.90. You have to go to 1275.75 or 1276. So I round it up to the nearest tick. I put it at 1276. And then I make it an MIT order, which means if price touches 1276, it's going to give me a market order. It'll automatically trigger a market order. So it'll put me in with 1 tick slip. Right here it touched 1276. It put me in at 1276 and a quarter. You can see from 1276 and a quarter, I took 1 point. Once it got up above the MA1, I locked in 1 point. I got out of it with 1 point. It went a total of 7 points before it pulled back down here. Now when it pulled back down here, I did the same thing. I put my order in there at 1280.75, and it got me in at 1281. Okay, from 1281, I had anticipated it moving up here to 1284. Once it got up above 2 points profit, I moved my stop up to plus 2 points, and I ended up taking out 2 points on that. It went 2.5, I got 2. This one went 7, I got 1. Price came over here. You see right here, I missed this entry right here by 1 tick. I had my order on there and everything. I did it right. I missed it by 1 tick. I did have my order on over here, and it came right over here and stopped me out to the tick. Actually, it stopped me out. Yeah, to the tick. And then it started to go back in favor of my trade, but it would have stopped me out completely anyway. So we had +7 on this one, +2.5 total available on that one, -2 on this one, which puts us at +7.5 total available on the morning. We didn't have anything right in here, and then the final one was right here. And so far, that's 78.50 would have been where you place your order. Your entry would have been 78.25, and it dropped down to 76.5. So 1 3/4 points. 1 3/4 points profit potential in that one so far. Okay, and that was the morning on the ES. Okay, now the ES trades are really simple. It's all really simple, but the ES trades are a little slower. They take a little longer to form and to run to profit usually. So you got to keep all that in mind when you choose which one you're gonna take here. You guys saw both of these trade setups. I pointed this one out before it happened. I said it's going to come up here, test the BBC. We'd look for a down close, and we would look to short that down close. That one did go down. This one over here did the same thing. All right, right here we have a little bit of bullish divergence right now. This is just a little bit of bullish divergence. It's not exactly optimal. But the MA1 is above the BBC. We came down, we're testing the MA1 right now, and there's the up close. So you could get long right there, right now. It's not optimal, but it is there. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me this morning. If anybody has any questions about anything, feel free to throw them out there for me. Again, the results, 12, 12, and 28. That's what we had, all right?